Shalom Yasharala, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And citation and much love for Yahweh and pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here lesson real quick, which says global power is ramping up nuclear arsenal. The number of stored warheads ready for potential use has increased by 86 since 2022, a new research has claimed. Right now, and we're getting into this topic of, modernizing and, upgrading and creating more of these, nuclear warheads and things like that, which, when you're really dealing with this topic, this is when you really look into it, they have, Russia, obviously, it's Russia and America, they have the so-called most nuclear warheads, but even at that, they don't tell you about how many they actually have, because you have some that are so-called decommissioned, right? A lot of them that are decommissioned, and a lot of the times when you go into this decommission, all that they did was, they just took out a certain component, all right? That's just like saying, you got a car lot full of cars, and then somebody asks you, how many cars do you have that's ready? Well, the whole car lot. Well, how many cars on the car lot? Oh, there's a total of 100 cars on a car lot, but 50 of them have the batteries removed. You know what I mean? "Quote unquote" decommissioned. Well, I mean, and somebody would say, "Well, the car ain't gonna start. It don't run." This is that. Like, well, all we gotta do is put the battery back in. That take 10 minutes. The car be back up and running. No big deal. All right. So hey, when it comes to these nukes, and a lot of times they like to they'll talk about how many quote unquote delivery systems they have, the rockets they have versus the actual warheads, man. The warheads, they go inside the tips of these things, man. All right. But it says nuclear powers are actively modernizing and expanding their arsenals amid rising global political tensions, according to a report by the Stockholm Institute Peace Research Institute released on Monday. And another crazy thing about this is, you have the talks of a lot of people saying, oh, that the nukes aren't real and all these different things. Hey, they're going to find out, all right, real soon. All right. And then, other people talking about Russia and their arsenal and everything else like that, how it's old, out of dated, and we shouldn't worry about that. Hey, man, all you need is one of them to go off, man. All right. Hey, really, we know how this is all going to go down. But, just talking to some of these people and their speculation, like, well, all America got to do is launch off one of their nukes and then have that bad boy not really make it out, the launch pad, more or less to say. All right. And explode right then and there, man. All right. America would be fucked. All right. It says the think tank estimated that as of January 23, Russia, the U.S., UK, France, China, India, Pakistan, North Korea, and Israel had a total of 12,512 warheads, with 9,500 stored in military stockpiles for potential use, an increase of 86 from 1 year previously. Now, and again, like I said, these aren't even the real numbers, because I want to say that they said that America had like 12,000 warheads themselves, and Russia was close by these numbers. All right. But nevertheless, again, like I said, they're not going to tell you the exact number of these damn warheads. All right. Because again, both sides, we know that Russia and America, they both have, they both took, basically the same amount of stockpile of these nukes from Germany in World War II. All right. And then they had the technology to develop more of these things, man. All right. To perfect these things, man. All right. So, hey, these countries, which, they're not going to really tell you if they develop it more, they actually got more, or, the things, because they had I forgot what it was called, but basically there was a point in time where they was testing these bombs and developing these bombs, and they got to a point to say, all right, look, no more testing and development. All right. But at this point, they had already gotten their stuff perfected, man. They just shut it down for everybody else. So who's to say that they ain't in the back room making their own shit, like as they're accusing Iran of and everything else like that, which they would just want to buy the nuclear warheads from Russia, man. All right. They're over there trying to get a nuclear power plant for energy. All right. That's a little different. But nevertheless, let's continue on. It says the report also claimed that as of January, Russia and the U.S., which between them possessed almost 90% of the world's nuclear weapons, had 1,674 and 1,770 deployed warheads respectively last year. Russia had approximately 1,588 warheads, while the U.S. has 1,744, according to the CIPRI. All right, and hey, that's more than enough each. All right, they have more than enough each to damn near blow the world up, man. All right, or damn near every major city, or attack every major city with the amount of deployed warheads, man. All right, the think tank noted that the size of their respective nuclear arsenals seem to have remained relatively stable in 2022, although transparency regarding nuclear forces declined in both countries following the outbreak of hostilities in Ukraine. And again, like I said, that's another prime example right there, man. All right, throughout this whole Ukraine situation, you think they over here really giving out, you know, truthful information to the people that they're basically at war with. All right, and then not only that, at this point in time where everybody's focused on this and focused on that, dealing with Ukraine and everything, and they can be over here ramping up some, creating nukes in the background, man. But then what? It'll sound like propaganda. Oh, we just discovered Russia's over here developing more nukes under the, while all while doing this here war over there, man. That's not gonna go down good with the propaganda machine coming from the West, because they want you to believe that Russia's all out of date and they falling apart and they finna collapse tomorrow or something like that, man. But if you was to tell them like, oh well, meanwhile, while Russia's over here developing and using hypersonic missiles in the midst of the war with Ukraine, they over here upgrading their nuclear warhead or nuclear arsenal over here, man. All right, that wouldn't go well with the Western media and their news and everything else like that, man. All right, and if it was on the other side, America's trying to play like they're the soft victim and everything. They don't want to seem like the aggressor, man. All right, so hey, this is a perfect time to sit there and start developing your nukes. It says, and it's almost time to be used. All right, according to the prophecies, it says, over the course of the year, China's nuclear arsenal grew from 350 warheads to 410. SIPRI estimated, adding that by the end of the decade, Beijing could potentially have at least many intercontinental ballistic missiles as either the U.S. or Russia. All right, so hey, that means that there's a whole lot that they can develop. All right, by the end of by the end of the decade, man. All right, so if they can get that many, to catch up, because they was at like 1,500, 1,700, man, and they starting at like 350, or 410. All right, they can increase that much. Think about what America and Russia could do, who's already had this technology since what, the 70s or some shit perfected. All right. It says elsewhere, the UK is not thought to have increased its arsenal in 2022, although its number of warheads is expected to grow in the years to come. Meanwhile, France has continued its nuclear development program, while India and Pakistan appear to be expanding their nuclear arsenal, the report said. And like I said, you think about if on the world stage that America know that India and Pakistan, all right, is developing or upgrading their arsenal. France is as well. You think America not doing it? Like, you know what? We're gonna be the bigger guy out here. We're not gonna develop more because we don't want the world to. Nah, man. They like the only niggas that. I mean, I'm pretty sure they signed a nuclear treaty, but they broke out of it. But pretty sure they signed a nuclear treaty. I think the only people that didn't sign it that had the nukes and everything was Israel. They may be the only person that didn't sign, not to develop any more of these things. But nevertheless, it says North Korea is said to be prioritizing its nuclear program and is estimated to have assembled some 30 warheads. Israel, which has not publicly admitted to possessing nuclear weapons, is also believed to be modernizing its nuclear arsenal. The think tank also pointed to the erosion of global arms control architecture amid the Ukraine conflict, noting Washington's decision to freeze strategic stability dialogue with Russia and Moscow's suspension of the 2010 New START Treaty, which places limits on U.S. and Russian nuclear arsenals. President Vladimir Putin announced the move in February, pointing to the refusal of the Western powers to permit inspections of their nuclear facilities. He confirmed, however, that Moscow will continue to abide by the deal limits on his deployed warheads. All right. And so, hey, tensions are rising. All right. Things is getting prepared. We're moving closer and closer to the day of the Lord. We're getting closer and closer to, all these prophecies being fulfilled. All right. So let's jump into a couple precepts. I'm not going to make this too long, but what we see going on, we're going to start hearing Joel. What we see going on is the fact that these nations are preparing for war. All right. Joel 3:9 says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. All right. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. All right. And so, hey, this is the point where you're seeing, these nations developing their nuclear arsenals, man. Developing more and more weapons. All right. Upgrading their weapon systems and everything else like that, man. All this, you got the largest NATO Air Force drill basically in all of history taking place right now. All right. All these things that, hey, people aren't spending money like this for nothing, man. All right. Some people have it in their mind. Oh, they do this all the time. This ain't nothing big, blah, blah. Oh, you just living your life in fear and all these things. Like, look, man, at a time like this, now granted, America is spinning into oblivion and bringing a new world order system. But as far as the you don't really use up and move up all these here resources like that, you know, because the risk of it is too much. All right, for nothing. All right, you risking this whole military, like really what America's doing. But as the Lord is operating in their minds, you had for the last 20 years, you had your military out fighting in the Middle East, got the morale all down low. They out there losing, getting killed, and everything else. Like they ain't about to try to start up a whole nother war, and they tired already, bro. If you don't tire out some people like that, they ain't gonna try to use them. You know, you got to make sure they're ready and they're prepared. All right, but you also have this going on with these well, these different militaries across the world, man. All right, these joint military drills for what? World War III. It says, beat your plowshares and the swords and your pruning hooks and the spears. Let the weak say I am strong. All right, and so hey, you have you know, these nations that are pretty much you know, beefing them their how do you say, their nuclear arsenal up, man. All right, they're getting a what they call a great equalizer. All right, hey, America got nukes, we got nukes too. Like I said, man, you know, at a certain point in time, it don't really matter how many nukes you got because really one could be very devastating depending on where you drop it at, man. You can do a lot of damage with one nuke to a nation of any size, man. All right, and a lot of nations ain't really all that big. You know what I'm saying? But you know, hey, you can go over there and you can drop one damn nuke and you can do a lot of devastation in a lot of places, man. All right, but hey, you know, these people are under the guise of they ain't got this, they ain't got that. We ain't gonna never get to this here point. And they for one, they lack faith. They don't understand these prophecies and thing else like that. And then also they have what they call it's like a coping mechanism. They got to tell themselves these lies so that they can go to sleep at night. All right, because hey, at the end all be all, the writing is on the wall, man. The nations, you know, you see in nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. They're preparing for war. All right, all these things are coming to pass. The how you say the infrastructure for the RFI or the market of beasts is being prepared and everything else like that, man. All right, all these things is coming to pass. All these major prophecies is bringing us to an end. Yet people are still, you know, like the scripture say, eating, drinking, marrying, and giving into marriage, going on like nothing is popping off out here, man. All right, let me go from there to was that I wanted to grab in Isaiah. Matter of fact, let me grab this first revelation. Well, let me just I'll start at 15, just to conserve time. Revelation 9:15, and the four angels were loosed, which were matter of fact. Let me come back to this. This is where is that at? In, let me see. We'll find this precept. This is one of them actually. There's another one actually. It's Jeremiah, but we'll read this one. Isaiah 13, and we'll start at verse 5. It says, they come from a far country, even from the end of heaven. All right. And that's, you know, what is it describing? What you know, the term intercontinental ballistic missile, right? Intercontinental, from one continent to another continent, ballistic missile, you know, basically it's you know, the propulsion type, you know, it's you know, like what you would look at as a rocket, you know, how it's propelled like that versus a gravity drop bomb, like where you just drop it out of an airplane and just free fall. No, these are like when you look at those, you know, Top Gun type shit, and they shoot those missiles out of those planes and shit like that, and it's got that, you know, jet power that comes out of the end of it that's propulsing it. You know, that's like, you know, a ballistic missile at that point. So hey, these intercontinental ballistic missiles, they come up out of these silos and things like that, and then they shoot up into the air and they go across the damn, you know, from one continent to another continent. Since they come from a far country, even the end of heaven. All right, from Russia to America, that's one side of the globe to the other. Even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. So, hey, what are the Lord's weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land? All right, what weapons does mankind have that's created today that they can destroy the whole land with? All right, so hey, you know, think about in World War II, the amount of bombs that was dropped on Europe. It was an immense amount of bombs that was dropped on Europe and everything else like that. But imagine if they only had 10% of those. Not even if you had 1% of the amount of bombs that was dropped on Europe, would have been nuclear bombs. Hey man, that shit would have been completely destroyed. All right, which is 1% of the amount of nuclear bombs, 1% of the amount of bombs that was dropped on Europe. If only 1% of them was nuclear bombs, that whole shit would have been gone over there, man. All right, so just imagine what kind of weapons can destroy the whole land. All right, these are these intercontinental ballistic missiles, man. Thermonuclear warfare, man. This is what this is talking about, you know. And matter of fact, I had said something just a second ago, and made me think of this precept. I guess I got to read from. Well, I'll get to the point. Job 20:24. It says, "He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through." All right, and so this is basically was talking about these. So if you go back in the olden days, right? You have a sword or a dagger, right? This is your close range weapon. Then you have a long range weapon, which is your bow and arrow, right? You have that the matter of fact, we'll read that next too. The and the bow and arrow, the um you know, the how do you say, the dangerous part is the tip, the warhead, right? Just like with these intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? The Lord's will get to it. The tip of it is the dangerous part, right? And the rest of it is the body is part of, you know, its propulsion system, and then also helping guide it to where it needs to go. All right. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and coming out of the body. Yea. So the body that is coming out of, like we see in that their article, which would be this here silo. All right. See, this is the body that it comes out of. You have this here tip, this missile, this warhead inside of this here body. All right. Inside of this here silo. All right. Ready to go. All right. It says, it is drawn and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword cometh out of the gall. The terrors are upon him. All darkness shall be hid. His secret places shall not, all darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. Woo. So, hey, man, he going to be consumed. All right, a fire not blown, that instantaneous nuclear reaction going to take his ass out, man. All right, now, I was just speaking on this. I think it's in Revelation 9, which is a different precept than I was going to grab. 15. Yeah, I wanted to grab this, but I think there's another precept. It's talking about the tails and the mouths. Where it is. Yeah, it's verse 19. All right, so let me just read from up here. Okay, call hello, y'all watching me. I shot two precepts in one. Let me start at 15. Revelation 9:15, it says, "And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year to slay the third part of men." All right. And this is what, you know, the third part going into, you know, you have the sons of men, the sons of God, and you have, you know, the sons of, or the sons of men, the sons of God, and the sons of the wicked, right? You, the Edomites, the Israelites, and then just these other nations, right? Now this here judgment is coming forth to take Esau out of power, right? A third of men. All right, for a day and an hour and a month, you know, going into that is, you know, there's a certain date for this here judgment, right? It says, "And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000 thousands, or 200 million," which is going into those warheads, not the actual missiles themselves. Because when you go into these missiles sometimes can hold 10 to 15 warheads inside of that thing, man. All right. It says, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, and then that sat on them having breastplates of fire and adjacent and of brimstone, and the heads of horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouth issued fire, smoke, and brimstone. All right, and that's what they talking about, comparing this to a basically well, the nuclear weapon. All right, the nuclear missile, basically. All right, it says, and by these three, and it says, you know, out of his mouth issued fire, smoke, and brimstone. You know, that's that nuclear warhead, right? That tip. But these three was a third part of men killed by fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouth. Again, that warhead, that devastating tip. It says, "For their power is in their mouth," the warhead, all right, the tip of this here missile, "and their and in their tails were the tails like unto serpents." All right. Now, when you see a snake slither across the sand, it leaves a trail. When you see these intercontinental ballistic missiles being launched, they leave a like a smoke, like you can see the smoke stream trail from where they're launched off of. Man, all you have to do is look up, you know, nuclear missile launches, right? Pictures of them. Go to Google Images, nuclear missile launches, and you'll always see like this arcing picture, right? You know, the little the I ain't gonna call it the sparkly part, the glistening or gleaming part, the lit up part that looks like a star. That's the actual missile itself being shot up, being propulsed off. But following that is like a smoke trail of where it came from, the arcing, you know, the arc that shows where it came from, more or less to say. It's just look up a nuclear missile launch on Google Images, and it's self-explanatory. It's easier to explain than to see. All right, but that's where you talk about where it leaves this trail, just like a snake inside of a slithering across the sand. You can see the path that it came from. Right? It says, for their powers in their mouth and in their tails were like unto serpents, and their heads and had heads, and with them they do hurt. All right, talking about with their heads, those are those warheads, right? Hey, we could speak on this as well too, but we'll just finish it out. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of their works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold, silver, and brass, stone, wood, neither can see, hear, nor walk. All right. Neither repented of their murders, nor their sorceries, nor their fornications, nor their thefts. And this is going into, you are going to have some people after seeing this Babylon the Great being destroyed. All right. They're going to still be kind of tweaking and everything. But hey, when the chariots pull up and the Lord come put their ass in subjection, it's going to be a different story. All right. I don't know if I'm grabbing any more precepts from that. I think the point was made there. But just wanted to touch in on that. We didn't even read all of Isaiah 9, but nevertheless, we're gonna go ahead and close out with that. I don't want to make this too long. But the point here is, hey, these nations are preparing for World War III, man. They're preparing to use nuclear weapons, man. All right, you got a lot of people that's just believing that this is gonna go on forever. But hey, this is how you get caught like a thief in the night. The writing is on the wall. The trumpets are being blown. Are you taking heed to these things, man? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that, saying, "Call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Bahashim Kakudash." Double honors to the apostles and the elders, great meals on the top of this truth never will. And salutation, much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth, and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong, shalom.